Hello and welcome back. This is the Divine Expansive podcast, and I am your hostess with the mostest, Sharette Miller. This is episode number 5. I think it's episode number 5. It's been a little while. It took a couple of months just to regroup, and there's just been a lot of, I think, collective activity, and I have a tendency to pick up on a lot of those things, and it can exacerbate a lot of whatever it is that I'm going through at the moment. And obviously we're all going through shit, so it's one of those things. It's just, I feel like the way that the energy of the world and the earth and everything, and the vibration of the earth and the vibration of the collective consciousness is, so much is just touch and go right now. So much. As far as the podcast goes, I am still figuring things out and trying out new things. I have now expanded to publishing my podcast on Spotify. So some of you may be watching on YouTube, some of you may be watching and or listening on Spotify. So I think that's pretty fun. I'm very excited about that and just want to keep going. Just keep the ball rolling, keep the momentum flowing forward moving momentum. All right. So I have to be transparent in the start here that I am most definitely pulling out of what I would consider a dip or a lull. That's what I tend to call them. The past few weeks have been a little bit tough. Just a lot of self-discovery, a lot of interactions with others, actually prior to me falling into this deep, dark pit that I was in. A lot of the interactions that I had with others helped me to see certain things about myself that needed to change, that I wanted to make changes with. It's definitely been a mirroring and reflecting and projection type of scenario, where you meet someone and they are literally like a mirror and they're reflecting back to you something specific, and you may think that it's them, or you may realize that it is you. It's something that's reflecting back to you from what you see in them. And there's also a projection factor. I feel like that's probably one of the most common things. Someone meets a person, there's a mirroring aspect that happens. Something's reflected back to them that they don't like, and so they project it onto the other person. That I've dealt with a lot. Being on the receiving end of it and also on the giving end of it. So I think everybody has. It's just kind of a human nature kind of thing. So what's interesting about it is, for me, as opposed to lashing out at others and, accusing somebody of anything else, of anything, going outward with it, I have a tendency to go inward. But sometimes I go too far inward. So that's a little bit of where I was at, and I had to pull myself out of that. Now, this isn't right, nor is it wrong. It just is. I don't guilt or shame myself for hermiting. I will say that there are light attributes and there are shadow attributes as far as a hermit, and that goes back to archetypes. I've talked about archetypes, I think, in some previous episodes. And the hermit is one of the big archetypes that Carolyn Mace talks about. And there's, the shadow attribute. I definitely had a tendency to be in that area more often than not. So learning how to move to the light attribute where I can go inward and have my introspection moments. Also part of my being an Enneagram 4, for anybody who knows about Enneagram. All the emotions that I feel, the whole myriad of all of them, like literally everything. I feel it all. The good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, the glorious, the heinous, all of it. So I'm learning how to have that introspective moment without necessarily isolating and shutting people out. So it's a progression. So that's just my little vulnerable share to start here. What I would like to do today is take one of my favorite books and just open it up, close my eyes, and pick a page, pick a paragraph or whatever, read part of it to you, and discuss it. Might even pull an oracle card surrounding it. I think that's a great idea. I have all the things. I'm prepared, fully prepared. So the book that I have chosen is actually one of the books that it was one of the textbooks when I was in hypnotherapy school. I went to school at Southwest Institute of Healing Arts, SWIHA, here in sunny Arizona. It's in Tempe, Arizona. And part of the curriculum in one of the classes that I took, I think it was the advanced techniques in hypnotherapy, maybe, there was a section about parts therapy. So the different parts of ourselves that, you know, pull us in varying directions, and it can be opposing. You know, you have a part of you that feels this way and a part of you that feels this way. It's the proverbial devil and angel on your shoulder. We all know that one. So that's a little bit of what that was about. But there can be multiple parts of you. It's not just the good versus the evil. You know, we are multifaceted beings as humans in this experience that we're all embarking upon right now. So this book, let me go ahead and grab it here. This amazing, beautiful, wonderful book, Whole Brain Living by Jill Bolte Taylor. It blew my mind. I mean, the first time that I read it, I actually was listening to the audiobook first. That was the first thing I did. Little close up of the book. Hopefully I have that lined up right here. But I started listening to the audiobook of this initially, and then I realized, oh my God, I need to have the actual book in my life. There's just so many reference points in the book. She talks about the 4 characters of the brain. And this particular author, I can't say I know a lot about her story yet. I haven't delved into that, but I know that she had a massive stroke at a very young age, and she went through a whole process that helped her to realize. And she also, I'm like, she a neuroscientist? It's, you know, she's PhD, Jill Bolte Taylor, PhD. So I think it's neuroscience, something along those lines that she is involved in as her career. So for her to have had the existential experiences she had in having the stroke that she had at such a young age, and what came of it for her, and the knowledge and education that she had and experience, she wrote this book, and it's phenomenal. And honestly, it's been one of the most life-changing books that I've ever read in my life. So what I would like to do right now, I need to come up with a name for this little segment, but I'm just going to randomly open the book. I do have some little tabbies in here just from when I was in school, just things to remember and study and things like that. But I'm going to randomly open the book and choose whatever it opens up to. And I think before I read it, I'm going to pull an oracle card, and we'll see what the tie-in might or might not be. So, all right, I'm going to open this in front of you so you can see. I don't know what my camera angles are looking like here. So, random page, stopping there. And I think we're just going to start on this side. I'm going to read from over here so you can see what I'm looking at here. Okay, so this particular section is called Character 4 in the World. So the 4 characters that she talks about are very interesting. To touch on that, let me see what I have here about the characters, because I hadn't actually thought about that. Character 4, I remember specifically, is your divine connection. I believe it is the right brain. So there's a character 1 and a character 2 that is the left brain, and a character 3 and a character 4 that are the right brain. So the right brain. Character 4 is your more spiritual side of your right brain. So I guess it would be the right feeling. I think there's thinking and then there's feeling. I'll have to get the specifics on all of that, but let's see what this excerpt in the book lets us know. Okay, so we're looking at the right side of the brain and the feeling, intuition. Okay, so I have chosen the section of the book that I'm going to read just randomly. I actually read this book in sections more than anything. I didn't necessarily read the whole book initially. And just because of time constraints with school, it's a pretty thick book. You see it? There's a lot happening here. So I've chosen this page. Didn't choose it. I just kind of opened it to it, and that's where we're going to start. And what I'm going to do before I read it is pull an oracle card. So we'll set this to the side for a moment. The oracle card deck I'm using is Sacred Geometry Activations. This is one of my absolute favorites. So I'm interested to see what card comes up as far as the energy of this section that we're going to read and just what the correlation is with everything. I love to tie in these things together and just see what comes up. Because sometimes I feel like there's, you know, massive correlations between things, and then other times, you know, it's maybe not so much. But most of the time, there's some pretty cool synchronicity. So let us see. Cutting the cards. I'm going to go ahead and I'm trying to do this so that it can be seen what I'm doing. I don't know what my camera angles are. Still haven't figured all that out yet. All right, so I've pulled a card. We'll set these off to the side. Okay, the card that I've pulled is Gaia. Okay, I will read the card and then I will read the excerpt from the book. The frequency of Gaia reminds us that we are infinitely connected to one another, just as we are to our great mother and to the universe that birthed us all. So Gaia is another term for Earth, Mother Earth, essentially. It's very commonly used. So that's kind of cool. So let's see what the book has to say. This particular section talks about character number 4. So in this book, Jill Bolte Taylor talks about how she came up with this idea of 4 characters of our brain. There's the left brain, the right brain. So I believe it's the left brain thinking and the left brain feeling, the right brain thinking and the right brain feeling. Character 4, if I remember correctly, is the right brain feeling. So there's more intuition in that. So the right brain is the creative side, the more intuitive, the more feeling side of our brain. And then the left brain is the more logical side, and just kind of things are in separation and analytical, just more analyzing as opposed to feeling. So character 4 is the right side, the intuitive part of our creative side of our brain. So I'm just starting in the middle here, and just I'm curious, you know, what's going to come of this just from the middle, and I'll explain to the best of my ability. So here we go. When we purposely focus our intention and send the vibrations out into the great unknown, change happens. We are powerful beyond measure, not just within our brains, but in how we can use our brains to influence the energy field and thus the world around us. At its core, this is why the book and the movie The Secret, ooh, have we not all heard of The Secret? Had such mass appeal. Energetically, this relationship between us and the space around us is real. I hook into my character 4's consciousness that exists in the eternal flow when I shift my mind into the present moment, focus on my breath, and feel my heart expand to connect with the breeze that both brushes my face and simultaneously rustles the leaves on the trees. When this happens, I shift out of my left brain's perceived boundaries and meld into the energy. I become the movement of the flow and shift into being that elusive thing. I am not only the leaf, but I am the energy that moves the leaf. I am not just the bird that soars. I am the energy that lifts the wings so the bird can pivot even higher. I am not just the kiss of the breeze upon my face, but I am the warmth within it. I am not just the purr of a kitten, but I am the energy of love that radiates in that vibration. I have to admit, I got lost in that, like reading it, just the beauty of her words and the way that it was expressed. How profound. So as I said, I've read the book mostly in parts and pieces when I was in school because it was very busy time. So it wasn't like I was sitting and just reading the book for leisure and for fun. So some of these sections of the book, like I'm reading this now and I'm just like, oh my gosh. And I closed it. I should have left that open. But that's okay. We're going to talk about it anyway. So the character 4 of the brain that she talks about is your connection to Gaia, to Mother Earth, to oneness, to the understanding that we are all a part of nature and connected to nature. And we're not just observing nature. We're not separate from nature. We're not separate from anything. We are one, and everything that is encompassed in that oneness is love, meaning it's all God. God is at the helm. God, the creator, source energy, whatever name you want to put behind that universal force and that creation, the energy of creation that brought us all to be, and that governs all of the things that happen on this earth, this Mother Earth, Gaia. So what's the point of all this today? I don't know. But I do want to say that I was profoundly moved from reading that section of the book again. And it's a beautiful reminder for me, and hopefully for anyone who's watching this, that we as a soul are more than just our bodies and what's happening in our bodies and the circumstances that are coming about from around us. Also, from within us. Our inner world creates our outer world. One of my best friends said that to me. That was the first time I heard that years ago. She said that to me. And I was like, it was just profound to me, because we're all so used to going into autopilot, and just the things that are happening around us are happening to us. And I now have come to the understanding that I don't believe that that's true. I don't believe that anything just happens by chance. I don't believe that things are happening to us and we're just kind of, passively watching as things happen. I believe we do create it, and I believe it comes from our inner world. So whatever you're feeling in your inner world, whatever is happening in that inner world, that is what your outer world turns into. It's what's created for you. Transversely, what your outer world looks like, for instance, if your home is messy, I speak from experience on that. Confession. Your outer world, if it is messy, if it is clutter, if things aren't, looking nice and feeling nice around you, it is more difficult to feel that peace in your inner world. But that also, when you can change your circumstances from the outside, like picking up your house and cleaning up and, maybe getting rid of some things that you don't need anymore. Those are things that help your inner world, that help to align you within. It all it's like the, infinity symbol. It just kind of all goes back and forth. It all flows. And that's what she was talking about. And just flowing with the oneness, flowing with everything around you. So that being said, obviously we all have circumstances in our lives, sometimes unfavorable, sometimes, there's a back and forth, and, you are just trying to figure out what's going to happen or what's going where. I know for me right now, it's been like an emotional roller coaster, a lot of ups and downs, and that can be frustrating. So remembering that you are connected to nature intrinsically from the inside out can help. I know that getting outside and walking in grass and grounding has been something that has helped me tremendously. The sun, just having the sun shine on my skin and feeling the warmth of the sun. Obviously, you want to be cautious, get too much sun, get sunburn, radiation, all of those things. But within reason, obviously, get out into the sun and walk on grass. Or as my 14-year-old son would say, get out and touch grass. To tell him that sometimes too, to get him off his computer. That's neither here nor there. I digress. Getting back to my point. Connecting with Gaia, with our Mother Earth. That, I'm talking to myself right now. I feel like it's just so many things have been happening. And so I'm grateful that I chose to sit down and make this video, because I'm realizing all of the things that I could do more of to feel more interconnectedness with the planet, and in turn feel more peace within myself. We all want to feel inner peace. And my life is charmed. Sometimes I forget that in the midst of whatever storm I seem to think that I'm going through at the moment. That's all perspective, and it's all different. There's different magnitudes of storms for everybody. So we all deal with the things that we deal with in the best ways that we're able to in the moment. But I'm seeing that what I can do better is to get out in nature and to remember that connectedness. Tap into my character for, I feel like I need to talk more about these brain characters now after going into this book. The characters 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. She even names her characters. It's so much fun. So maybe I'll get myself together and do an episode on this book. I also have a worksheet that I created on this book to learn more about your character 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, note to self, need to get all of that out there. It's important. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I am super grateful to anyone who made it through this video, as I always say, because there's so much, just all of my meaningful rants. I am grateful to you if you made it to the end of this and you're seeing this ending wrap up here. I'm happy to be back to doing videos. Life is unpredictable. Things are what they are in any given moment. So I am doing my best, and I want to send light and love to everybody. I want you to think about what it feels like to do your best. Even if you feel like it's not up to par with where you think you should be, ask yourself the question, am I doing my best right now? And if the answer is no, work on it. I suggest getting out in nature, touching some grass. It helps. All right. I love you, and I hope that wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you're happy, and that you have an awesome day, rest of today, the rest of the week, whatever day it might be when you watch this. Thank you for watching.